This is video 6 of the 8-part mini course, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Arabic at the same time. Last video was what did you do today? How about this, what are you doing right now? Again, we're relying on video 2, verb timeline, which is your sort of microcosm of the language, past, present, and future, because language reflects life, and we experience life in past, present, future, so language is going to reflect that. It's generally going to be past, present, or future. And so if you know how the past, present, and future works in the language you're learning, up front, you have that as a baseline for 90% of anything you're ever going to say. So last video is what did you do today? That's your the past tense column of the timeline. Present tense, what are you doing? Is a logical question. You could call up a friend and say, hey, what are you doing right now? What are you up to? What are you doing right now? And in Spanish, you go, ¿Qué estás haciendo? Which literally means, what are you doing? And the NDO actually is kind of like ing. So what are you doing? And in Portuguese, you would say, o que você está fazendo? All right, so o que você está fazendo? And then in Arabic, ماذا تفعل? And if you're speaking to a family, you say ماذا تفعلين? Right? Now, maybe not all of these patterns are becoming familiar to you, but they all will become familiar to you, and once in a while we'll come back and we'll draw attention to that to make it something become familiar to you. But some of these patterns should become, some of these words and these constructions and these patterns should be already becoming familiar to you, and that's the point. The language becomes a habit, basically. So by having conversation and finding out that often you're saying the same things over and over, language begins to become a habit. Your first language for you is a habit. Like it or not, even what I'm saying right now is kind of habitual. I've said it before, and if you observe yourself going through your daily life speaking your first language, you'll find that you're often on autopilot linguistically. And so in the second language, we're actually looking to form a habit out of some things. And so these are some high frequency questions. What are you doing right now? What are you doing later? And so on and so forth. And it creates conversation. At the end of the day, you learn language through conversation. So what are you doing right now? I'm studying English. And I know I use, for example, languages often as a stand-in bit of vocabulary, but it's cool because you can compare, without changing too many variables. So I'm studying English here. Estoy. The important part, estudiando, is studying. Say I'm studying Spanish would be estoy estudiando español. Estoy estudiando español. And by the way, the ing part, like the studying, again, is the NDO. Okay, so estoy estudiando español. Portuguese is estou estudando. We'll say Portuguese. Right, so Portuguese and Spanish are very similar, of course. So estou estudando Portuguese. And in Arabic, you just say edrus. There's no like ing in Arabic, so you just say edrus árabe. We forgot right now. ¿Qué estás haciendo ahora? Means right now. ¿Qué você está fazendo agora? And mada tefal or mada tefalin, elen. And that's the word for now, okay? I'm studying English. I'm learning English. I'm practicing. I'm practicing English, Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, whatever type of combination you want to make. Estoy learning is aprendiendo. So estoy aprendiendo español, estoy aprendiendo inglés, estoy aprendiendo whatever. And practicing is practicando. Estoy practicando inglés, right? Estoy learning is aprendendo, also the NDO. And practicing is praticando. So estou praticando português, estou aprendendo português, estou estudando português. Edrus árabe, studying Arabic. I'm learning is eta'alim. And practicing is umaris. Okay, so edrus árabe, eta'alim árabe, umaris árabe. Here we go. Same verb, second person form of a question, instant conversation using your verb as the pivot point. Conversation is a tree and verbs are the seeds. I'm studying English. I'm learning English. I'm practicing English. Are you studying English? Are you learning English? Are you practicing English? Estoy estudiando español. Estoy aprendiendo español. Estoy practicando español. ¿Estás estudiando español? ¿Estás aprendiendo español? ¿Estás practicando español? Você está estudando português? Você está aprendendo português? Você está praticando português? And finally, hel tedrus, hel teta alem, hel tu maris, árabe. And to be fair, if you're speaking to a female, you add in on the end of these. No problem. So, hel tedrusin, árabe, hel teta alamin, árabe, hel tu marisin, árabe. Okay? Think of what else you could do. Come up to this English section and I'm working, I'm studying, I'm going, I'm thinking, I'm buying, I'm whatever you are doing. And then learn how to say that in a language. So I'm trying to teach you to be your own teacher. This is a template. You use this template and these principles to construct the language, put the language together, build your control panel of buttons, build your matrix, populate your matrix, and then you're using those parts to mix and match and have conversations. So practice writing, keep a journal in the language so that you can express your thoughts in the language you're learning, and practice with real people. The most important part is expressing the thought. People think that you learn a language by learning words. It's not about packing words into your mind and hoping you can remember those words when you need to. It's not about flashcards. Language learning happens when you express a thought in that language. It's like how a river flows. The river is formed by the pressure of the water trying to flow out. The pressure of your thought flowing out of your mind shapes your mind, like the water shapes the river. It shapes your mind in the language. And so next time when you have a similar thought, there's going to be an easier way for that thought to flow out. So you're looking to build the shape of the language like a river system in your mind, and that only happens by expressing thought in language. So grab a notebook and express some thoughts. Grab a partner and express some thoughts using the material and the principles that we've been developing so far.